Hey guys, we're right in the middle of Lent as we count down the days towards Easter, and so I turned to the handy-dandy Revised Common Lectionary, and one of the passages for this week is on the Transfiguration of Christ. So, let's take a look at that for today. After 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John with him and led them up a high mountain where they were all alone. There he was transfigured before them. His clothes became dazzling white, whiter than anyone in the world could bleach them. And there appeared before them Elijah and Moses, who was talking with Jesus. Peter said to Jesus, "Rabbi, it is good for us to be here. Let us put up 3 shelters, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He did not know what to say, they were so frightened. Then a cloud appeared and covered them, and a voice came from the cloud. "This is my son, whom I love. Listen to him." Suddenly, when they looked around, they no longer saw anyone with them except Jesus. So about a week before the Transfiguration, Jesus turned to his apostles and he let them know very clearly that he would have to suffer, he would be murdered on the cross, and eventually be raised to life. Assuming Jesus' apostles are just normal people with a normal range of human emotions, this would be a very shocking statement to hear, and at very least, a very confusing one. Their friend and leader of the movement they gave 3 years of their lives to just told them that he was going to be tortured and murdered. So a week passes and Jesus takes his inner circle, Peter, James, and John, up to a mountain. We don't know which specific mountain, but what's more important is what happened on that mountain. In the Transfiguration, Jesus' body for a moment transformed into a glorified state. Even his clothes took on a supernatural bright white. And you have to remember, everything in those days was dirty, dusty, and dingy. So what was the purpose of this? First, it was a revelation, and second, it was reassurance. On the mountain, Moses and Elijah appear with Jesus, and they talk about his death. But why Moses and Elijah? In Jewish thought, Moses was the giver of the law, and so they associated him with God's covenant with the people. Elijah was considered to be the greatest prophet, and so he represented God's revelation through prophecy. What happens next is a cloud envelops the 3 of them, Jesus, Moses, and Elijah. Then a voice from heaven, God's voice, speaks, saying Jesus is the chosen one. He's loved, and he's going to be the one to accomplish God's will. Then when the cloud lifts, only Jesus remained. In other words, Jesus is the primary revelation. Jesus is the fulfillment of the law of Moses. Jesus is the answer to all the prophecies and all the prophets. And this gives the apostles reassurance because a little while earlier, Jesus just told them that he's going to be murdered and executed, but God would vindicate him by resurrecting him from the dead. So what might this mean for us? Well, if you notice, Jesus reveals himself to his apostles in stages. They have to be ready, or there has to be certain situations that they're able to understand and comprehend, at least in part, some of the revelation that Jesus wants to give to them. The same is true for us. God wants to reveal himself to us, but perhaps we're not ready yet for the revelation that he wants to give to us. Perhaps we need to be in a place where we grow a little bit more in our ability to comprehend God before he can reveal himself to us in those ways. So my encouragement for all of us is let's continue to grow. Let's enlarge our capacity to comprehend God's revelation. And when we do grow, then we'll be able to understand more and more and more. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in life, that your Christian life is stagnant, that your understanding or God's revelation to you hasn't increased in a while? Then maybe it's because you're not at a place, I'm not at a place where we can understand and comprehend more of what God wants to give to us. Let's use this Lent and dig in spiritually, really seek after God and increase our ability to understand and know and experience God. Then God will reveal himself to us. We'll grow in relationship, in knowledge, and love with him. Thanks for joining us. We release quick Bible thoughts like this every Wednesday, and if these are at all helpful to you or blessing or encouraging, would you consider subscribing? I appreciate you all very much. Be blessed and peace.